The UK's divorce from the European Union is approaching and Britain is looking for new economic partners. Prime Minister Theresa May is on her first official visit to Africa this week. She's there courting nations with a promise of generosity that, according to her, no one else will be able to match. May says she wants the UK to be Africa's biggest foreign investor by 2022. The Prime Minister wants to use her country's hefty aid budget to open doors in Africa for British businesses. Latest UN numbers show Africa's largest foreign investor was the US, which spent close to $57 billion on the continent. The UK and France trail close behind and China is quickly catching up. May's trip will take her to South Africa, Kenya and Nigeria. All three are former British colonies and the Prime Minister wants to use those old links to forge stronger trade relationships. Well, for more on this story, let's go to Agnes Gitau in Addis Ababa. She's a partner at GBS Africa, an advisory firm that promotes business and investment relations between Africa and the rest of the world. Thank you so much for joining us. So, Theresa May's awkward dancing aside, she has made this rather serious pledge to overtake the United States as the leader among the G7 countries in investing in Africa by the year 2022. I'm wondering, is this a realistic goal given the uncertainty that surrounds Britain and Brexit?
Well, I think she is keeping with the tradition of Western leaders. When they visit Africa, they always come dangling or bearing gifts for Africa. But you're right, UK ranks very highly, top 10 sources of FDI for Africa, as you said, clearly at number 2 with France. But yes, it may be unrealistic given the domestic challenges Theresa May is facing at home, but it's possible. And I think really using that aid budget to boost private sector, UK's private sector into Africa, I think something can be done. But who knows who'll be in power in the next 5 years, given the current challenges around Brexit and leadership surrounding her government at the moment.
Yes, and we know China has been a huge investor in Africa in recent years. A Johns Hopkins University study says around $86 billion worth of Chinese loans were given to African governments from the year 2000 to 2014. So how can the UK possibly compete with that scale of investment?
That's a very good question, Oscar. And why China is a preferred partner for investment for Africa? Because they have no ties. They don't influence in Africa's local politics. Whereas the UK relations with Africa, remember the three countries she's visiting, these are former colonial countries that the Britain colonized. So you see, why China is a preferred investor for Africa, to me, it's because of the fact that there isn't history between China and Africa. And as you clearly put it, China is pushing to have a bigger stake in Africa's opportunities. And, you know, for me, Oscar, is what priorities does Africa put here? We are increasingly becoming an important partner in global affairs, global economy. So it is therefore important. Yes, we have so many suitors, but how do we prioritize what is important for Africa and tap into these countries who have a renewed focus into our continent and see what best suits us? It has to be, remember, Oscar, I think we have a bargaining chip when it comes to UK and Africa. UK is leaving the EU, so we can come and negotiate trade that are beneficial to us. Trade, also we have to negotiate access to market, bigger access to market at competitive value and at competitive rates.
Yes, and just quickly, Agnes, I'm wondering, what does the UK stand to gain from increasing this investment? Because obviously Britain wants to gain competitive advantages as well.
You know, Oscar, allow me to be a little bit pessimistic. I'm looking at the current political situation in the UK and the global economy. I think Theresa May needed this visit to probably to try and and distract, people who are questioning her leadership, people who are questioning government tackling of the Brexit process, and also, she needed this visit. Great headlines. Theresa May visits Africa, the first PM in 5 years. I think it works clearly to distract people who may be questioning her leadership at the moment. I think Britain has nothing to gain. Africa has a lot of opportunities, and it will be up to Africa to pick who is the best partner for them.
Interesting, and we will see how that visit unfolds over the next couple of days. Agnes Gitau, always good to get your thoughts. Thank you.